The city of Jericho stood as one of the strongest fortresses in the ancient world. Towering stone retaining walls supported thick mud brick defenses that surrounded the city like an unbreakable shield. Behind those walls were deep wells, overflowing granaries, and enough supplies to survive even the longest siege. To the people inside, Jericho seemed impossible to conquer. But after hearing how the God of Israel had dried up the Red Sea, defeated mighty kings east of the Jordan, and brought his people safely across the river, fear quietly spread through every street. Rahab later confessed that the courage of Jericho's people had completely melted. The city gates were shut so tightly that no one entered and no one left. Outside those intimidating walls stood Joshua, Israel's new leader. He knew that ignoring Jericho would leave a dangerous enemy behind his army, yet attacking such powerful defenses head-on would almost certainly destroy his soldiers. Human wisdom offered no solution. Then near the city, Joshua encountered the commander of the Lord's army and received a strategy unlike anything in military history. There would be no battering rams, siege towers, or surprise attacks. Instead, Israel would trust God completely and obey instructions that seemed impossible by every standard of ancient warfare. At sunrise the following morning, thousands of Israelite soldiers gathered before Jericho's closed gates. 7 priests walked ahead carrying ram's horn trumpets called shofars, while others carried the Ark of the Covenant at the center of the procession. Before anyone moved, Joshua issued one unforgettable command. No one was to speak a single word. There would be no battle cries, no threats shouted toward the walls, and no conversations among the soldiers. Only the long, haunting sound of the shofars and the steady rhythm of marching feet echoed across the valley. Slowly, the army completed one full circle around the city before quietly returning to camp. The defenders watching from the walls were left stunned. They expected arrows, ladders, or an attack against the gates, yet the Israelites simply marched away without a fight. When dawn came on the second day, the same strange procession returned. The third day looked exactly the same. Then came the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Every morning the army marched once around Jericho before disappearing again into the wilderness. No explanation was given, no attack was launched, and no words were spoken. What appeared meaningless to the Israelites became terrifying to those trapped inside the city. As the days passed, the greatest battle was no longer taking place outside the walls, but inside the minds of Jericho's defenders. Every sunrise forced them back onto the ramparts, expecting an assault that never arrived. Their bodies remained under constant tension, while their minds struggled to understand Israel's mysterious strategy. Modern psychology explains that uncertainty often creates greater fear than a visible threat. When people cannot predict what will happen next, their imagination fills the silence with endless possibilities. That is exactly what happened inside Jericho. Rumors spread from house to house. Some believed secret tunnels were being dug beneath the walls. Others feared that Israel's God was preparing a supernatural judgment against the city. Guards lost sleep, families lived in constant anxiety, and confidence slowly disappeared. Meanwhile, the Israelites remained calm, disciplined, and completely obedient. Without drawing a sword or firing a single arrow, Joshua's army was already weakening the city from within. The defenders stood behind massive walls, yet fear had become a prison stronger than stone. Long before the first breach appeared, Jericho's greatest defense, its confidence, had already begun to collapse. On the 7th day, everything changed. Before sunrise, the Israelites approached Jericho once again, and the defenders expected another single march around the walls. But after completing the first circuit, the army did not stop. They continued a second time, then a third, then a fourth. Panic spread across the ramparts as soldiers hurried from one tower to another, trying to understand what was happening. The endless march continued until 7 complete circuits surrounded the city. Then suddenly the entire army stopped. Absolute silence covered the battlefield. Joshua raised his hand and gave the command that everyone had been waiting for.
Shout, for the Lord has given you the city!
Instantly, the priests blew their shofars with all their strength, and thousands of Israelite voices erupted together in one tremendous cry. The sound rolled across the valley like thunder. Then the impossible happened. Jericho's outer retaining wall cracked, the mud brick fortifications collapsed, and enormous clouds of dust filled the sky. Scripture declares that the wall fell down flat, allowing Israel to advance directly into the city. Historians have proposed earthquakes and structural weaknesses, while engineers continue studying ancient construction methods. Yet the biblical account presents the victory as the direct fulfillment of God's promise. Israel did not win because they possessed stronger weapons or greater military technology. They won because they trusted God's instructions when those instructions seemed impossible to understand. The Fall of Jericho became one of the Bible's most unforgettable victories and established Joshua's reputation throughout the land of Canaan. Yet the story is about far more than collapsing walls. It reveals that the strongest fortress can be defeated when fear replaces confidence, and that the greatest victories often begin with faith instead of force. Jericho possessed powerful defenses, experienced soldiers, and enough resources to survive a siege. But none of those advantages could protect a city whose people had already lost hope. Joshua's army demonstrated extraordinary discipline by obeying every command without question, even when the strategy appeared irrational. Their silence became a weapon, their patience became their strength, and their faith accomplished what no ordinary army could have achieved. Thousands of years later, the story continues to inspire historians, archaeologists, military strategists, and believers around the world because it reminds us that not every battle is won by superior weapons or larger armies. Some victories begin in the mind, others begin in the heart, but the greatest victories come through unwavering trust in God. The ruins of Jericho still stand as a timeless reminder that walls built by human hands can fall in a single day, but faith rooted in God's promises can endure forever.